Good morning. The observant among you would have realised that the allotment is a complete shambles. This is because I've not been up here for about a month or so, and it's very early September and you really can't walk away from allotment at the end of summer for a month and expect it to remain perfect. Anyway, that aside, the point of the video is to come and have a look at a kind of tomato experiment I did starting earlier in the year. On about April the 30th I planted some save seed and some new seed. Now the save seed was from last year's crop of crimson crushed tomatoes, a very highly resistant variety to late blight, and the bought seeds were F1 hybrid crimson crush seeds straight from the shop. I wanted to see if the F2s, so to speak, from last year's save seed would inherit any of the resistance to late blight. I think some did and some didn't. We're going to have a look now. Well, believe it or not, this was intended to be my proper test row. And as I've been away for a month, not been too well, been a bit poorly. Nothing serious, luckily. And if you are going through something more serious, I hope you wish you all the best and hope you have the strength to deal with it. Anyway, so what I did was I planted 3 plants here which have now fallen over in my absence. These were the seeded F1 variety crimson crushed tomatoes, highly disease resistant against blight. These other plants here, for the rest of the row, follow these canes along, were just a save seed, so in effect an F2 version. Now then, safe to say, I'll bring you in closer in a second, safe to say, although it's hard to tell, the F1 hybrids aren't doing too badly, but some of these F2 ones have really been clobbered. And what happened, I noticed, was that all of the save seed looked slightly different to the F1s. This one, for example, has very large leaves in comparison, and its neighbour, and one down there I planted separately has also succumbed to blight, also a very large leafed variety. Take from that what you will, but obviously the resistance to blight doesn't really hold if you save the seed, so don't bother doing it. Nice tomatoes though. Let's have a look. So these are the proper crimson crush F1 hybrids. They're not doing too badly despite having collapsed onto the floor. Seems to be a little bit of something. It's hard to tell because the leaves have got mixed up with some of the plants next to it. I think there is a little bit of blight coming here. It's not got into the stem just yet. Whereas its neighbour, which is probably where it's called it from, its neighbour here, which is definitely a saved plant, saved seed. If we can see here down here, look, it's got absolutely classic blight all the way through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip anything that looks like it's got blight out of the remaining row and try and salvage what I've got from these better plants. So do I recommend growing crimson crushed tomatoes to save yourself from the late blight? I certainly do. Last year it was an exceptionally dry year and I didn't have any problem at all. This year the proper shop bought F1 hybrids have done very well. The save seed from last year has succumbed to the blight quite rapidly. This year's been much more blight friendly. It's been quite damp a lot of the summer. Anyway, the only thing to do now, really, you could probably save some of the green fruit off the blighted plants and make a nice chutney. I really don't have the time at the moment. So what I'm going to do, just get them out of the garden. I'm going to rip them out and put them into a bin bag and take them home and burn them, basically. That's what I'm going to do with those, get rid of it. I'm going to try and save any plants that are showing any resistance, whether they be, you know, from the rest of the saved seeds or from the actual F1 hybrids. I do have some more down there which I'll show you, probably down in the corner perhaps here somewhere. Again, they're a mixture, hickory-pickory mixture of F1 hybrids and saved seed. I'll do the same down there. I'll rip out anything that's showing any signs of blight and just try and stem it. Anyway, see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.